Good people, what is going on? Another episode of the All Go podcast. I'm your host, Desmond. Thanks for joining me. Headed actually to pick up my youngest daughter. She spent the weekend at grandma, so figured I would do a quick video while I'm on the way. Hope the audio's not awful. I'm obviously in the car driving, so it could be. But I'm hands-free, just, for safety. But want to talk about Dame Lillard, because Dame Lillard deserves better than what Portland is giving him. And specifically, I look at one CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum is the number two. He's the Robin to CJ's Batman, and really good shooter, all-star caliber player. Good defender. I think he's a really good player. I think he's really solid. I don't think he's a superstar by any stretch, and I don't think he'll ever even get into that realm of superstar. But what I think about with Portland and specifically CJ is Dame Lillard goes for 55 points and I think like 10 or 11, maybe even 12 assists, and Portland can't close that game out. Like, there's only so much that one guy can do, and I really haven't seen a guy do more than 55 and 12 as the guy, the superstar in these playoffs just yet. And the fact that he did that, and for CJ, like, you've got to close the deal, right? He's got 55 points. Dude, you could. CJ McCollum drives me nuts. And you think about Game 6 where, Damian Lillard played, I think, 50-something minutes, 52, 53 minutes in the double overtime game that they had, and also hit the fourth quarter, game to tie it up to send him to overtime, and then hit the overtime three to send him in a double overtime. Like, at some point, you got to come through for him. Like, you've got to help him out. And, Dame does all that, is absolutely gassed and dead, and has a rough performance. In Game 6, I think he had 28 points, but was pretty bad from the field. He was pretty bad from three. But that's to be expected. No one is Superman, and those types of minutes are your legs are going to be shot either way. No matter how great of a player you are. And it just, to me, Dame Lillard deserves better than what CJ McCollum and that supporting cast is giving him. When the game first ended, Game 6, when, they lost and were sent home, my initial thought was, man, you got to trade CJ. And I still kind of feel that way, that you need to trade him. He's a good player, but he's just not, he just can't seem to show up consistently in the playoffs. And I would be hard-pressed to find a playoff run that they've had, which, most of the time they're having first round exits, but nonetheless, you'd be hard-pressed to find a stretch or a playoff where CJ played really well or out of his mind or anything like that. Like, he doesn't seem to have that ability to be able to elevate in the playoffs when you need you need big performances and you got to have them. And maybe, that aspect of him is going to hurt his trade value as far as, trying to find a trade partner and trying to get the value from him that you will. But, that Game 6 was a couple days ago. And recently what I've been hearing is, and also heard from Dame Lillard, that, about his future in Portland, he was indifferent about it or wasn't committal either way. Just said, we'll see what happens, which makes me think he's now getting into that mind frame of, I might have to go somewhere else. And I do think Dame needs to go somewhere else. I am an old school guy, so there's something to be said in my eyes for a guy who does want to stay at stay in with one team and really try to build it and build that championship, contender and be a team that can possibly win it. But I just don't think with what Portland has around him is enough. Yes, for Dame, you've got to do your part, and I think Dame has. But, as we saw with LeBron James, granted, he's older than Dame is by a good amount, but no one can do this by themselves. You just can't. The NBA is just too talented. You're not going to be able to do to win a championship by yourself. Like, you've got to have the support, and it doesn't look like Portland is going to do that with Dame. So if I were Dame, I would definitely be looking to make a change. I think he's given Portland all he has. I think he's given it his all. Dude is a competitor. I think any team in the NBA would be ecstatic to have him. But my guess would be, if I'm Portland, and I don't think they're anywhere near the situation of trading him, but if I am Portland, I'm sending him to the Eastern Conference. I do not want to have him in the West, to where I'm playing him, 5 or 6 times a year, and potentially have to see him in the first round of the playoff, second round, things like that. I'm trading his butt far east. So we'll see. I think it'd be easier to trade McCollum, but I mean, we'll see how this thing, how it turns out, how it works out. Because I think if you're going to trade CJ, you'll probably need like a stretch 4, stretch 5 big man who can, kind of have the pick and roll or pick and pop with Dame, to be able to maximize what he does well. But I don't know. We'll see. I really don't know what's going to happen, but something to stay tuned with. And like I said, I think Dame deserves better. The dude is a superstar, and he just doesn't have the supporting cast to be able to put that team over, even just really getting over the hump. Like, they get to the playoffs, and of the last 8 years, I think they've been eliminated in the first round 4 times. So not great at all. So we'll see, but appreciate it. Since you're here, click the like and subscribe button. I appreciate it. Drop a comment below of what you think about old Dame Dollar and what's going to happen with his future in Portland. So appreciate it. Peace.